and welcome back to the Hot Lap. We are talking the Miami Sprint and Quali, and what a sprint it was. For the second time in a row, we have had actually a decent sprint race. Now, I know loads of people are hating on the sprint races. I was getting splintered on the fence, if I'm actually honest, but the last two sprint races have actually been quite okay. And I think as Martin Brundle sums it up each time, it's better than a practice session, isn't it? That's that sprint race. So, obviously, the sprint race, we had Verstappen, surprise, surprise, winning, yes, in Cilla Black style. Charles Leclerc in second, Perez in third. Kind of disappointed, really, with Perez in third. I thought he'd end up catching Leclerc. He passed Ricciardo, Daniel Ricciardo, the star, as far as I'm concerned, the absolute star of the sprint race. Carlos Sainz in fifth, Piastri sixth, Hülkenberg seventh, Tsunoda eighth. Tsunoda, not bad, scoring a point, thanks to, obviously, Lewis Hamilton finishing quite far back, really, with a penalty. And that was speeding in the pit lane, despite the fact there was no pit stop, despite the fact that the safety car went through the pit lane. But hey, fair enough, you sped in the pit lane, you can't really hide that. That's a fact, Jack. Logan Sargent, 10th. Logan Sargent, 10th. Having arguably, I mean, when we look at qualifying as well, having arguably his best weekend. We've got Zhou in 11th, Russell in 12th, Albon 13th, Bottas 14th, 15th Ocon, 16th Hamilton, 17th Alonso, 18th Magnussen, and then Stroll and Norris, yes, 0-0. So, the first corner, I know, it wasn't particularly clever, was it? But Hamilton's fault, partly. Stroll's fault, partly. Alonso's fault, no. No, it really wasn't Alonso's fault at all. Even though Alonso's come out and he intimated that, oh yeah, it's because he's not Spanish, Alonso being silly. I mean, and this is the guy, he's so incredible. Then he opens his mouth. It's better to be thought a fool than open your mouth and remove all doubt. That's that kind of scenario. I don't think Alonso's a fool, but there he was. I mean, why? Because he's not Spanish. It's just classic Alonso. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's the sign of a genius. It's just an awkward quirk that he has. But there we go. So Fernando Alonso sadly finishing 17th, Kevin Magnussen 18th, over a minute down. Why did Kevin Magnussen finish 18th? Well, because let me show you the next headline, yeah, because it's gonna the only other headline really we've got to discuss before we get into Quali. Is Kevin a cheat? Well, this is the thing. Kevin Magnussen, he was really, really good on the defensive against Lewis Hamilton. Most of the time, really, really good. There was a couple of times when I thought it probably was, if I'm honest, a bit much. I mean, he basically just went past the chicane. Fair enough. The first time he went off the chicane, I didn't really think he should have given the place back, no. But he basically bolted and didn't even hold himself up. He thought, okay, I've gained a tiny bit, maybe I should back off. No. He just carried on. The other time, he completely went off the track. It was very much like a Brazil 2021. Brazil 21 with Max and Lewis going in there side by side and basically pushing Lewis off the track. And then I think almost hitting him as well, coming on the track. So not only did he force a car pretty much off the track, he then returned to the track unsafely. I'm not too sure what's going to be happening to young Kevin there. I was like, what? But I'm glad he got a penalty. And the frustrating thing though is they love to dish out these 10-second penalties, don't they? They love to. And this is why in this interview he did on Sky, it's playing here on Baz Eddy, his YouTube, which I've linked in the description. Listen to his interview, and let's have a chat about it because it frustrated me.
Give me your opinion on those penalties and how the race kind of unfolded.
Yeah, they were fair. All the penalties were fair, but I had to do my thing to protect Nico, make the space. Same story as Jeddah.
So he had to do his thing to protect Nico. So he's saying they were fair, but I had to do my thing to protect Nico. Let's carry on, shall we?
I got some penalties. We got some points as a team. Kind of sucks for me, but because I think we could have probably just finished there. Both cars have we played the game together, kept me in the DRS, but Nico cut the chicane at one point and broke the DRS, and then I was vulnerable to Lewis, started fighting with him, lost ground to Nico, and that was it. So I had to play the sporting game, not to have him be overtaken as well. So, not the way I want to go racing, but what I had to do.
So what he's essentially saying, and this is the thing that I find slightly frustrating, is Kevin Magnussen is basically saying, I held up Lewis on purpose and I was quite happy to get a penalty to help Nico Hulkenberg. Ergo, is Kevin a cheat at that point? Is Haas cheating? Potentially, yes, when you look at it from that way. I mean, purposely, knowing that he's probably going to get a penalty, there's a difference between hard racing and then that. I mean, to be fair, he... very honest for Kevin. I must absolutely give my hat out to him for there. But, and this is the frustrating thing about these current penalties, if they want to call it that. 10-second penalties, you know, good in some circumstances, but then you're quite happy to give Lewis a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Why couldn't you give Kevin one? Well, it was quite obvious, at least the second time, you need to come in within 3 laps, or you're disqualified. That's what they used to do. A drive-through penalty. Because then it negates, you know, the guy can't make up 10 seconds. In the next 3 laps, he's out of your way. The guy that cheated, the guy that went across the chicane, straight down the chicane, the guy that pushed you off and still remained ahead is out of your way. FIA, sort it out, please. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, not good at all. So... let's quickly then get in a quali, because it's going to be a bit of a quick one here. I'm not going to do winners. I don't want to really do winners and losers, but let's be fair. The winners of the sprint race, definitely Daniel Ricciardo. Not so much on qualifying though, and we'll be getting into that in a second. So Daniel Ricciardo. Not the best qualifier, sadly, was he? I mean, well, once again, surprise, surprise, we had Verstappen on pole, Leclerc second, Carlos Sainz third, Perez fourth. Disappointing for Perez, albeit he's only a couple of tenths off of Verstappen, but this is exactly why Red Bull are maybe questioning Perez. I think in this case, he's only a couple of tenths off. Kind of like the race, though. The gap between him and Verstappen is allowed 2 Ferraris in there. Now, luckily, that Red Bull is so fast in the race that I don't think it's going to be, you know, in the hands of Max and that Red Bull, absolutely, you know, bang tidy, really, really dominant. I don't think Max is going to have much of an issue come the race. But although Leclerc was in shouting distance, but if it turns out, and it will be a surprise, if Ferrari are kind of on pace by a couple of tenths with Verstappen, a wrong safety car here, an undercut there, could really, really hinder Verstappen, and Perez potentially at the moment is not really in a position to help him too much. And then you've got Norris and Piastri, who after the sprint qualifying, I was kind of a bit disappointed. And Norris, once again, out of the sprint race, absolutely a victim in that. Russell and Hamilton, really, once again, so close to each other, which kind of thinks they, like I said in the sprint quali, they're getting the maximum they can out of the race, out of that car. Once again, Hulkenberg very much showing why Audi signed him in 9th, Tsunoda in 10th. Well done, Yuki Tsunoda. It's not quite the 4th that Ricciardo had. Ricciardo starting 20th because of that 3-place grid penalty. Stroll didn't make it into the top 10, but interestingly, nor did Alonso. Whoops a daisy. He had a shocking lap. I think did Fernando. Then Gasly 12th, Ocon 13th, which I thought was quite good for Alpine. Albon 14th, not too bad. Alonso disappointing. And then we've got Bottas. But Zhao's at the back, which, is Zhao going to be kept on for next year? Unlikely. Bottas potentially making his claim if Carlos Sainz does not sign with Audi. Then we have Sargent, Ricciardo and Magnussen. Really disappointing for Ricciardo, but well done for Logan Sargent. Now, in terms of the race, I think it will be 2 Red Bulls and 1 Ferrari on the podium. I imagine it will... Sergio Perez was catching Charles Leclerc, so I think it's going to be a Red Bull 1-2 with Charles Leclerc in 3rd. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we get an exciting race. I hope come tomorrow night, or well, by the time I'm recording this, it's nearly 4 o'clock in the morning, but come Sunday evening, I hope I'm talking about what would have been an absolutely exciting race. Anyway, I'm going to get to bed now because it's really, really late. If you made it to the end, that'd be great. If you liked, that'd be great too. If you want to subscribe, that'd be great too. If you do one of them, you're a world champion in our eyes. If you do 2 or more, you're definitely a multiple world champion. We'll speak to you soon after the race. Thank you very much.